Hello, everyone. Hope you're keeping cozy during this never-ending lockdown season. And I'm back with another episode this week. This actually marks my 40th episode of Chatting with Asta. Pretty psyched about it. And I'm really excited to have a filmmaker, actor, awesome person, Rigo Garay. I have
Hello.
known him for a long time. He's a sweet guy. He actually acted in my directorial debut. And I just recently saw his piece, Size Up, which we're excited to talk about today. And yeah, welcome to the show, Rigo.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of
Um,
course, dude.
it's been a while. How's the pandemic treating you?
I mean, I'm healthy. I'm like warm in my pre-war apartment, and I have been sent so many canned foods from various people, so I'm
Yeah.
good. How about you? How are you doing?
Good. I mean, I'm just hanging in there, healthy, wearing my mask
Yep.
and stuff. So
Yeah, I think it's mostly like if you're lucky to have your health and
mhm.
all of that, you're mostly just trying to fill time and I guess upkeep your mental health, right? Like kind of
With
check
that,
in with
that,
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, and still try to be creative, but also like, come up with tasks to do every day. Normally I'm commuting like 2, 3 hours and then like walking around and doing all this crazy stuff. And
yeah,
I'm filling those hours with like, I don't know, it's just weird like meditation, organization. What are you doing with all this free time you have?
I mean, I've just been like writing and just trying to like keep my mind focused
Yeah.
on creative things. You know what I mean? I just feel like with the times right now, things are just so crazy, and it's so easy to lose track of like your sense of reality. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to you know, like you can be like you can have like your goals and like the things that you want to be doing,
Yeah.
and things you want to have done, but like when a pandemic hits and then with all this crazy shit that's been happening, it's kind of easy to lose track of all those things because you're
Yeah.
just so distracted from all this all this craziness. So it's like I'm just trying my best to keep that going and
Yeah.
focus.
It's an interesting mix of like disassociation and then like hyper information. Like I
Yeah,
constantly want to know what's going on because we're still like holding on to like what this reality is. I keep avoiding the term new normal because I hate that term so much. It's so stupid because it's like some people have been feeling the way that we do in the pandemic before the pandemic. People have been
yeah, for
sick
real.
or dying or like, all of that. And it's interesting, like you're creating, and I just watched your film, Size Up,
Awesome.
and I was just like, I love when I have friends I've known for a long time, and then I finally see their art, like the stuff that they create, because
Mhm.
like it's just like another side of you to discover, but then it just makes me want to know more about like how you like created it. But I first of all, I love the double meaning of the title. Like if that's what you meant, but like just the term size up meaning like sizing up a situation, like kind of a street smarts kind of thing, but then also
Mhm.
like thinking about the shoes and like
Yeah,
I don't know, like very
yeah,
literally. Um
yeah.
but I always, we talk about short films or stuff that hasn't been like formally released. I always like to say like, oh, spoilers or whatever. But I think that for this piece, nothing we could talk about could really spoil it because it's the experience of watching it. You really created like this fun atmosphere. That's why I put this background because I was like, I love like the neons
Yeah, yeah.
of everything. I
That's
don't know.
so
Before I blab on about how much I loved it and was interested about it for what I know about you, how did this come about? When did you shoot this? Like, spill it.
Yeah. Well, I always, I've always had this idea in my head for a while. Like it all started with these like stories I've been hearing about people getting uh, mugged for their shoes.
Yeah.
I remember, like I have a few friends who are like sneakerheads. I'm not a sneakerhead. I can't afford to be one, but a lot of my friends are um, back in Long Island, where I'm from. And they all, they collect shoes, and these things are like really fucking expensive, and then they flip it for like a higher price later on. Anyways, so I've been hearing stories about people getting robbed for like, I remember like the Galaxy phones. It's like this like sneaker that was really crazy looking, and um, like I heard stories about like dudes getting killed for them, like right off of their feet. Um, and it just always stuck in my head. Like it's just insane how people get murked over fucking sneakers.
Yeah.
And can I curse? I curse a lot. Is that cool?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's,
uh,
I'm not I'm not big enough yet for this to be a monetized video. So
gotcha. So yeah, so these stories always stuck inside my head, and like I have a good buddy of mine, this dude Aaron, who like he met some like guy off of like uh I forgot where it was, online somewhere, and like he was gonna like sell him like an iPad and like sneakers, and he met up with the dude, and the dude came out with like four other dudes in a car, and they like robbed him, they stabbed him. He's okay, but they fucking stabbed him, and they like took the money, took all the shit. And so like all these stories are just in my head, and I'm like, dude, this is so scary. Like I don't I don't know. It was just like the
yeah,
scariest thing I've ever heard, to be honest. So I've always had that in my head, and you know, um, you know, uh, I've like experienced, some loss throughout the years, and like I've had, friends and family pass away suddenly, you know, uh, and that idea just of uh, losing somebody in your life overnight, like
yeah,
waking up the next morning, the person's gone forever,
yeah,
and that always like has been stuck in my head too. So I just put those two things together, those two like fears, and came up with this story. And the story also, uh, a lot of the things that happen in that movie are like somewhat loosely, very loosely based on like real life events and stuff that I went through as a kid.
yeah,
Because the movie's about kids, so it's a lot of stuff that I've been through, and all the characters in the movie are loosely based off of real people. So
yeah.
yeah,
There's an authenticity about it, that makes it like you get drawn in by it. It kind of reminded me of the Safdie brothers, like this kind of hyper realistic with a little like sheen to it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, they're from Queens, and like some of their stuff was shot on like Long Island as well and stuff. So they have it's funny, those are like the only filmmakers that like I watch their movies and I'm like, I know that guy. I
Yeah,
know that guy.
yeah,
Like I went to high school with that kid. You know what I mean? Like the characters that they make up, I'm like, I know exactly who that dude is. That dude hangs out at Taco Bell on Jericho Turnpike. Like I know exactly who these characters are. So yeah, I do appreciate the Safdies.
yeah. I mean, I definitely see that, especially like in the character that you play. You
Hmm.
play like this very flashy, edgy guy, and it kind of reminded me of a conversation you and I had a little while ago about like how pollsters and people don't understand that the Latinx, Latino, Latina community is far more complicated, and it's totally about based on social classes. It's social classes. It's how people want their narrative to be framed when they come here. And
Hmm.
when I watched it, and I don't know if this is just my reaction to it, but I saw the guy who gets his shoes taken I saw him as that kind of like new rich, flashing his privilege in in his neighborhood type of person, like the kind of person who like wants so badly to fit in and is like flashing money and like trying to act like he's above everyone else in his community, but he has no street smarts, right?
Mhm. You're talking about the brother
The
character in the
older brother, yeah, the
beginning?
one that has his sneakers taken.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and but his little brother is the one that has this really interesting character development because he literally sizes up the situation that he's
Mhm.
put in, and he knows
Yeah.
exactly how to act and how to read this guy. And he's really from where he's from. Like he is a person of his he's the nature versus nurture, like he's the nature. He's seeing his he is reacting and learning like really quickly. And that's those different demographics we were talking about where it's like some people they come here and they want to like forget their homeland, you know? Some
Mhm.
people they want to completely surround themselves with the people who get them and they want to reminders, and some people are in between.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, when it comes to, like, Latinos, right, like,
yeah,
uh, yeah, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, I mean, you got the ones that, um, it's just yeah, it's interesting, man, especially on Long Island,
yeah,
'cause I've been living in Brooklyn for, a few months, but in back home in Long Island, it's, like, interesting, seeing some folks who, have parents that
mhm,
um, you know, came to this country and it wasn't it wasn't through them having papers or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
not here.
right. And it's just interesting how some people come from that and then they automatically uh, have this like notion where it's like I have to fit in with like you know whatever and they kind of forget a little bit like their roots and all that stuff and it's just a little well pretty much what I'm just trying to say is that like that's just the the whole like Latinos with Trump thing or whatever it's
That's what this conversation came from. Yeah.
I mean I guess that's what I'm trying to
We weren't surprised, but apparently all the Anglo Americans were like shocked. They were like, "How can you? How?" Well, that's because outside of this country, many of them, including myself, we would be considered white. In any
yeah
other country,
yeah
white. So if you're othered in this country, it's actually multiple different cultures that are under that one banner that people put of the Latinx community. Like it's many different cultures, many different races within that
totally, totally.
color.
Yeah I mean
It's
without a doubt yeah I mean Latinos it's like It's it's crazy, man. When you Latinos are, we're brown, we're black,
yeah,
we're white. Like I've seen Latinos with blue eyes and blonde hair, and then I've seen some that are black folks. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like it's like so it's yeah. I mean
We're more
well,
complicated.
yeah
We're not all not everyone is out for that like overly PC like, oh, you've helped us, get our green card type of story. Everybody has a different story. And I think that that's something I thought was interesting about your film is it had this specificity about it, but then it had this kind of allegorical take where you see these different classes and different experiences kind of confront each other. So
hmm
like this little boy is going into a lion's den and
yeah
he is completely unafraid,
yeah
you know? Like because he's active in his situation. And I think that that's what artists kind of have to be right now with all the turmoil in the world is like
yeah
active and aware. And I think that that's kind of something I was like reading into with your work. And obviously you've worked with Glass Eye, and Glass Eye like is very socially like aware and tries, and Larry is always trying to like, everything from like climate change to just, you know,
Yeah.
everything political. He's definitely like tried to explore. And I think that I can tell that that's what the school you've come from inside.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm actually very grateful for all the folks that I've met at Glass Eye and through Glass Eye.
Hmm.
Uh, and Larry was uh I remember I first showed him the script, um and he was just like super. I mean, I was I'm not gonna lie, I was a little like nervous because I'm just like, I just wonder if this like older white dude is gonna understand the the lingo and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, is he gonna get like some of the words and some of the lingo? And he got it, and he thought it was cool. And he was just like, he thought it was a very endearing story and all that stuff, and he liked that it was an honest telling of the shit that I've seen.
Yeah.
Um, so he was like totally on board. And then I have to also, my bro, Chris Skotchdopole, who also works at Glass Eye. He was the editor of the movie, but he also produced it. And he it was funny because I first told him the idea about a kid losing his brother, because of a pair of shoes,
Yeah.
getting robbed for a pair of shoes. And I told him that idea years ago, and he was always just like, huh,
Yeah.
you might have something there. I kind of, I like your textures. I remember that's the first thing he said. He's like, I like your textures. I'm like, what does that mean? Textures. But he was just like, so you fast forward, and then he was with me while I was writing, and I would like show him a few drafts, and like he would like help me out with like the suspense and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. Because he had like the film school knowledge, sort of, I guess, and I didn't. So he like helped shape the script, and then Larry, helped put it together, and then, a few of the other Glass Eye cats, they jumped in on it, and they all helped me make this movie. So um, I'm definitely super grateful for those folks.
Well, I'm really glad it was put together, and I'm excited to see like the other things you work on. I've had an immense joy getting to know you over the years, and also, like I said, it was really great to have you in the first time I ever was directing. And I was thinking about it, like I credited you as like man on the subway, but like
Mhm.
literally you're the title character because you're you are the slightest touch. Like you are the
Oh,
triggering you're the person who is the triggering character that like makes the incidents. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should have just titled it.
I agree, man. I,
But
you know,
that was fun, and I think what's cool about it is you want to act, but you also like to write and create, and I think that means that you like really want to tell stories
yeah,
however you can, whatever angle that you can fit into it.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I've always wanted to be a storyteller, um, since day one, and I've always wanted to like, it's kind of difficult for me to like make up a story from scratch.
Yeah.
Like, I always just like to write about things that I know or I've seen or I went through, and it's I would like to share my experiences with everybody. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, without a doubt, and however I can do that, that'd be awesome. Whether it's directing or writing or acting, I will try to
Well,
do
you
that.
fit in so well, and I was like really struck by your character. I'm like, because
He was a piece of shit though.
for those who,
Oh, wait, wait, my movie or
yeah,
him movie?
but
It-
I mean both. No,
I mean, yeah, sort of.
it's funny to me because like for those listening, watching, like Rigo is the first person to be like, if you need help, like on this project, I'm happy to help. Like whatever you need, like how you doing? Like the most like I don't know, like I know I can depend on Rigo. I know I can depend on you. And to watch you play this like this guy with this like you know, earring and
The
like
Bad Bunny and the
like
earring.
yeah,
And the,
like staring a kid down and like I
yeah.
swear like the I guess the way I would word it is you're watching the scene in Size Up that Rigo's in with this little kid who just kind of like broke into his house. You'll have to watch it to know why. And you give this kid this look that I swear to God, I was like, is he gonna just like eat him? Like it was just like and I was like defies logic, but it was like a ferocious like I could just like attack this kid but I'm thinking about it, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So
Thanks.
if you guys are looking for lion human types, this
Yeah. No, I just, I wanted it to be a thing where like, um, this dude, it's just a reality of like, no matter how old you are, you're not safe.
yeah,
And like terrible things can happen to you, or you can witness terrible things at a young age or whatever. And like, there's a
yeah,
lot of dudes out there that will talk to you, will talk to an 11-year-old kid like as if they're this older bro that's been, you know, stealing their shit or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
there's no getting out of it.
yeah,
Um, I just wanted to uh, show that there is, there are no exceptions when it comes to I guess the streets, whatever, or like the terrible things that can happen to a person.
yeah.
You
And
know.
it's like luck, but also like energy, because this
Mm.
kid, he he could have flinched. He could have. I mean,
Yeah.
it could have played so many different ways. And I keep thinking about the scene, the inciting incident of the film with the murder, and I'm like thinking, did they just like pick on him? Like, obviously they wanted the shoes, but like he
The
walked
prey.
away and put himself in an isolated position for them to do worse.
Yeah.
But
He was
like,
prey. You know.
yeah, he became prey, but he isolated. And I feel like as a woman, and especially in the film that you actually worked on with me,
Mhm.
I explore this idea of like how we can kind of like create energy around us that can almost make it us more vulnerable than usual. And so it's like, how do we like try to control that situation, and how much of it is luck and how much of it is like how we handle ourselves and how much of it is like a poker face. And I think that that's like the sizing up, right? Like the kids kind of
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, it's exactly that, and like I feel like the brother figure, the dudes that the bad guy that
yeah,
mugs him or whatever and kills him. His mind was made up the moment he saw the guy. The moment he saw the shoes, and he's just like
yeah,
he's by himself. It's gonna
yeah,
end for this guy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So, yeah, and then like, you could put on you could put on a brave face as much as you want, man. But the moment these dudes got their eye on you, whatever, you're not
yeah,
saying like there's
yeah.
no getting.
It's over.
It's sad, man, and it's really like that. And like, it's uh, it's almost like when hyenas are like looking at a wildebeest or an impala. It's like, you can try to get away, and it's
Yeah,
just scary, man. You know.
they're never alone. That's the thing. It's like you
Yeah.
may see one, but there's actually a pack like two
Mhm.
clicks away, ready to.
Yeah. And like, it's just I just want to just show that a simple walk home from hanging out with your friends or from
Yeah,
a fucking Tinder date or whatever, like, could be your last night alive. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. No,
it's
I,
just
I,
crazy
I'm
reality.
excited. Where is it? Do you have any festivals that you're going to with this yet? Do you know?
I'm I've submitted to a few. I'm still waiting to hear back from them.
Looking forward
I'm
for everybody to check it out. I'll make sure to link the trailer, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you definitely get like the aesthetics. And good. the textures, right? Is that
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um,
yeah, and I was gonna ask you, what is it? I mean, I'm sure this is something that might have been done in post, but how did you achieve that? Like, it's like a vignette effect.
mhm.
What?
Yeah, it was just it's just these so we use these like old school lenses, these
Nice.
Russian lenses, the Helios.
Okay.
Uh, and we yeah, we just use these things and it's like uh we have the option of like having these cool vignettes on there and I'm like let's keep those in there and I kind of just like how it's uh, a view into this wacky world. It's
Yeah.
like we're like watching these people through a lens, whatever. And because it's the thing is that, like this is what I wanted to do. I wanted the situation to be very real,
Mhm.
right? People die, people get mugged,
Yeah.
people lose loved ones overnight.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, uh, revenge is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That type of stuff is all very real. So I want the themes to be very real, but I wanted the world that we see to be through the lens or through like the view of a kid. So
Yeah.
that's why all the characters looked very wacky. That's why the characters acted wacky. That's why the wardrobe was like bright orange and leopard print and everything was very like it even like the behaviors of like the muggers were very like cartoony and wacky because it's like
Yeah.
through the mind of a kid, you know what I'm saying? So like I kind of wanted to show uh I just wanted to feel like as if a kid is watching like a cartoon
Yeah.
a little, but
It,
just these terrible things happening.
yeah. But then it also, like I said earlier, reminded me of like the Safdie,
Mhm.
brought up like the good time, like when he's like, you know, trying to hide in that house for a while. It just kind of like it had that feeling of it. But I look forward to people checking it out, and I look forward to seeing what else that you're creating because obviously you're keeping like your spirits high and
I'm trying.
yeah, right. I mean, that's why I had to take a break because like all the different things that have been happening the past like month and a half, I was like, no. But I wanted to know
Mhm.
what what's your message for the universe this week? Like what do you want to like send out very specifically? First thing that pops into your brain.
Um, well, appreciate uh, the person who is, you know, sitting next to you and like appreciate the person who you're texting, the person who you're calling, the person who you're thinking about. Um, you know,
Yeah.
and it's that's one thing that these past couple months have been tough. Um, I've I've lost somebody very close to me, so it's like just knowing that um, you're just one text away from just telling somebody, from just
Yeah.
hearing back from the person because you never know, man. Like they might not be around. So
Yeah. No, and I feel you on that. It's sometimes we take that for granted and I hope that people are thinking about their loved ones a little more um with gratitude of like what their place in their life is. And I know that I am going to be so obnoxious whenever lockdown is lifted. And I'm going to be like hugging and kissing everyone. I'm going to be like,
you gotta turn up. You gotta, yeah, without a doubt. Oh man, if you weren't an extrovert,
oh my God.
yeah.
I've had, just to give you an idea, I've had like 3 social hangouts this
Mhm,
whole like year since lockdown.
mhm.
I've been working on a production, and that's been like its own thing. But like to deliberately like every time I've had to meet a friend, it's like this whole thing. Like I've been tested, you've been tested. We still are gonna be
Yeah,
like this, like elbow to elbow, like. But all I want to do
yeah.
is hug them, and then I come home and I just like I do like this, and I just pretend it was the person.
Yeah,
So
for real, man. It's crazy. Like our whole lives just like changed in like a month. I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, like a few months ago, like we just woke
yeah,
up, we're like, all right, we all got to stay home and not touch anybody or get close to
I
anybody.
know.
It's kind of crazy, man.
It's gonna take a while. But yeah, I just realized like I am very lucky to live with someone that like lets me just obnoxiously hug him for no reason.
Best.
But it's crazy how much I miss the people that I didn't even realize I would miss. The people
Of
because
course.
I but
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, totally. I get your message and
without a
loud and
doubt.
clear. I appreciate you coming on and talking with me and just like sharing your work with me. And I'm so like honestly, like it's just so thrilling to see this little side of you that I haven't seen. And also like I've heard these stories too, and I have a lot of sneakerhead friends who are like, I don't wear my shoes out. Like
Yeah, man.
like they literally I have a
Yeah.
friend who used to put right like his he had like shoes for walking,
Uh
and then he'd get to a party and he'd switch into the shoes at a house party.
huh. Yeah, you have.
It's
Yeah, without a doubt. It's crazy, man.
yeah.
It's horrifying.
I
You
mean,
know.
women, we do that with I do that with heels. Like if I have to go to for an audition in the city, I'll wear sneakers and then switch to heels in the building. But like so it's the same. So if you're a sneakerhead, you don't want to have the fate of the character in Size Up.
Yeah, without a
You
doubt.
for instance. But thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Chatting with Asta. If you're enjoying this show, whether it be on podcast format or on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Sharing is caring after all, and it'll keep me motivated to bring more episodes, of course. Also, I want to give a big shout out to my guest this week, Rigo Garay. He's a great actor and filmmaker. I look forward to seeing more of his work, and I look forward to you guys checking out Size Up whenever it comes out. I'll be sure to share that as well. And I will link everything I can related to Mr. Rigo, as usual, in the description. And yeah, he says we should appreciate people that are in our lives, and I think that's really important. And I appreciate